Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2022 Subaru Outback Wagon, we're going to be checking out the Yakima RidgeBack hitch-mounted bike rack. So first impressions of the rack on our Outback here, I think it looks right at home. You know, it looks like something a Subaru would have on it. And this is going to be a great way to carry around a lot of bikes. So this particular rack can hold up to a total of 4 bikes. Good news though, if you need to carry an extra one, there's a 5-bike version available. And then if you don't need to carry that many, there's a 2-bike version that you could pick up as well. And they're all going to work the same, look the same and everything. The only difference could be how many they can hold. Which, speaking of hold, why don't we see how it actually works? So your bike is going to sit in the cradles, and you're going to have 2 of these strap deals here on the top, and then one right here. And this is going to help prevent that side-to-side movement. That way your bikes aren't swinging around all over the place, crashing into each other whenever you're going down the road. And we'll run through how to take them off. So you squeeze these tabs here on each side and lift these right up. Same thing with this one here. We're going to be able to slide the bike off. I do like that the arms are somewhat narrow. It makes it a lot more manageable, especially on these long racks, to get the bike off. You know, your frame's not getting hung up nearly as much and everything else. The cradles here, where your bike's frame is going to sit, there is a rubbery type cushion on it. That way, you know, don't scratch up the paint or anything. And the bottom side of these straps too, they also have some rubber. So nothing to really worry about there. With these being loose though, probably a good habit to put these back in place when you're not using the rack, so you don't end up misplacing these or losing them. And kind of before we go any further, you know, something I do want to mention, all these cars now have backup cameras, and whenever you're putting a rack like this on here, especially if you have four bikes on it, your visibility out of your backup camera is definitely going to be hindered, right? You might be able to catch some bits and pieces of the ground, but you know, you'll have to do things the old school way and use your mirrors. You know, you're not going to be able to solely rely on your backup camera to let you know what's happening back here. Something I just wanted to mention. But kind of moving on here, something you do need to think about whenever you have the rack on the back of your Subaru is it's going to extend the overall length of it, right? And to figure out exactly how much, we'll just go from our Subaru emblem there to the very edge of the rack. Looks like it's going to add about 43 inches. So something to keep in your mind whenever you're pulling into maybe a tight garage or a small parking spot, something along them lines. When you're not using the rack though, the arms are going to be able to fold down to make it a little more compact. You'll have this lever there, pull up on it. These arms will swing on down and lock in. And like this, it freed up quite a bit of space, you know, from the same spot to the very edge. Looks like it's only going to add about 15 inches to the back of your Subaru. So in this position, you know, you really shouldn't run into too many issues, even if you do have a smaller garage or try to swing into that tight spot. One of the big questions that we do get asked quite a bit in regards to hitch-mounted bike racks is, you know, are you still going to be able to get into the back of your Subaru? And with this one, the answer is yes. It does fold down. So you have a lever up here, which is actually kind of nice. You don't have to bend over and work the lever like a lot of the other ones. So this swings on down, then you're able to open up the hatch and get anything you might need and then out of the back. So moving on down here, the rack is going to work with those 2-inch by 2-inch receiver tube openings like we have here today on our Subaru. Also has the ability to work with the smaller 1.25" by 1.25" hitches as well. And it is going to have an anti-rattle device built into it. And so when you put the rack in the hitch, you pop this pin in, and then you tighten this down. This is a knob, you turn it. What happens whenever you do that, it's going to eliminate all the slop and play there in the connection point. So whenever you're driving down the road, you're not going to hear that clunking around in the hitch. So Give you an example of that. Let's say if we're driving and hitting bumps and whatnot, you can see that the rack is going to move with our Subaru and not on its own. But other than that, at the end of the day, if you're looking for a bike rack that is very functional, easy to use, and looks pretty decent, you know, this is always an option for you.
Here on our test course, we'll start by going through the slalom. This is going to show us the side-to-side action. This simulates turning corners or evasively maneuvering. Once we get to the alternating speed bumps, we'll see the twisting action. This will simulate hitting a curb or pothole or driving over uneven pavement. Once we get to the full speed bumps, we'll see the up and down action. This will be just like driving in and out of a parking lot, parking garage, or driveway.
And that'll finish up our look at of the Yakima RidgeBack Hitch-Mounted Bike Rack on our 2022 Subaru Outback Wagon.